Last week, our itinerary included visits to Gun Key Bimini, Morganstown Andros, Nassau Harbor, and finally Hatchet Bay, Eleuthera. This week, we will be traveling to Cat Island, with our initial stop being Rock Sound, Eleuthera.
We're going 7.5 knots in a
14 knot wind.
14 knot wind.
We're doing 8 knots.
We anchor near the town of Rock Sound in 8 feet of water with very good holding.
How many? 10?
The dinghy dock is conveniently located near a gas station with roadside diesel. And Cooper is eager to take a stroll on land.
So we're just leaving Rock Sound. It's Sunday morning. The wind is off our beam right now at 14, 13 knots, 12 knots. We're headed for Little San Salvador. It's nice. Got to go around Cape Eleuthera first and kind of hang a left and see if the wind is favorable for sailing for us. That's it.
The route to Little San Salvador, which spans 49 miles, includes rounding Cape Eleuthera.
Right here. I'm sure it's beautiful to snorkel, but there it is.
It's crucial to stay clear of the numerous shallow, large coral heads that populate the route.
So this route from Cape Eleuthera to Little San Salvador and then Cat Island is known as the Thorny Path, often a bumpy ride. Okay, after 5 hours through the Thorny Path, we have arrived at Little San Salvador, which is our stop for the night before we get to Cat. There is a huge, nasty coral reef that juts out north for a long way, and we want to go around that before we anchor on the lee side of this island. So, whew, say a little prayer for us. But we have navionics too, so here we go. We're at the on the north coast, which is the lee side, since the wind is kind of southeast of this little island called Little San Salvador, and it is uninhabited except for the occasional cruise ship stop, and it's got tons and tons and tons of coral and rock all on the north side. So maybe we'll do a little fishing tomorrow and try to catch us some lobster. It is lobster season. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah. Monitoring our anchor so I can set the anchor alarm correctly. Let's see, it's probably about 7 feet ahead.
Yes, the anchor alarm helps you sleep at night. That's for sure.
Until it goes off, it's like a fire drill.
Right, Cooper?
Initially, we enter the water and assess our anchor, which is embedded in the sand. That's good news. Next, we marvel at some stunning, huge coral formations directly beneath our boat. Time to raise anchor and proceed to Cat Island.
There's a cruise ship that's in on the south side of the island. We're going to proceed on the north side, the north route to Cat.
We continue east to Cat Island and then south to Fernandez Bay, our anchorage for the next few days.
This is our first morning at Cat Island, Fernandez Bay. We're deploying the inflatable. David is checking the inflatable gasoline for water. He I think he's seen a few drops of water in the gas, which is not good, and we need to take care of that. This is Fernandez Bay from land. It has good protection as long as, except for west or westerly component winds. Right, Dave?
Fernandez Bay Village can be reached by a brief dinghy ride from the boat, and we have been advised that the staff is particularly hospitable to cruisers. The clubhouse features spectacular views of the anchorage. The bar here is Honor System. You gotta love it. Lunch consists of snapper sandwiches, after which we explore the southern end of Fernandez Bay. Fernandez Creek links Fernandez Bay to New Bight and features a blue hole that we intend to dive.
So we're sitting here at Cat Island, Fernandez Bay, and watching a Starlink launch from Cape Canaveral. So this is a Falcon 9 rocket.
Yeah.
Is the payload more communication satellites for Starlink?
Yeah.
It's like going right over us. That is amazing. It's like going right over our heads. Oh my gosh! Yes! This is amazing. So we've got the satellite heading like south, and then we have this booster. Yeah, hopefully like landing. That's amazing.
French toast for breakfast.
What are we doing today?
We are in the dinghy, all three of us. They were headed north a little bit to get to Arthurstown. Why, you ask? Well, it's mailboat day, so we're going to check out the mailboat scene and have a little lunch at apparently the shoreside kiosks.
This is the government dock just north of our anchorage. Today the mailboat arrived.
Smith Bay Harbor consists of a small basin with a government dock designated for mailboat use. The waterfront area features food kiosks, and the beach south of the dock is suitable for landing dinghies. In the Bahamas, mailboats serve as a vital link between the islands, transporting supplies and passengers. Thursdays are bustling days at Smith Bay, when the mailboat delivers much-needed supplies to local businesses and residents, and the markets receive their weekly shipment of fresh produce.
There it is.
The aptly named Boiling Hole, which we will dive, is one of the many blue holes on Cat Island. Blue holes get their name from the deep color caused by their depth and clarity, and they often have a unique tidal flow and marine life. The boiling effect is due to water movement when the tide pushes water through underground cave systems or channels. It can create turbulence on the surface, making it look like the water is bubbling or boiling. Just a short dinghy ride from our anchorage lies our destination.
This is the creek.
Fernandez Creek is quite shallow, with areas of mangroves and several tributaries off the main channel. The creek meanders toward the blue hole, and markers keep us headed in the right direction. There are many shifting sandbars, and even at high tide, we tilt the engine out of the water and walk, pushing and pulling the dinghy along.
We're kicking up some sand. I've been paying attention to the marker. We missed a left turn.
Bonefish, juvenile sharks, turtles, and stingrays, such as this curious one, inhabit the creek. With our scuba tanks full, we don our gear and plunge into the depths of the boiling hole, only to be greeted by a languid juvenile nurse shark. Blue holes are formed when limestone caves collapsed during the last ice age and are the entrance to underwater caves. Two entrances of this cave are linked by a connecting bedding passage and contain a densely populated marine haven within the shallow creek. Fish life is typical of similar blue hole entrances, with snapper, grunt, turtles, and juvenile sharks observed on this dive. Algae is present in dense patches in sunlit areas, while sponges become frequent in shaded and darker areas. We access the cave at a point roughly 30 feet from the surface. We access the cave at a point roughly 30 feet in from the surface, then descend a vertical shaft for 90 feet and continue horizontally for another 300 feet and a maximum depth of 130 feet. We turn the dive to retrace our swim and exit into the sunlit cavern.